Well, welcome to another edition of the Suitcase Sessions podcast. I'm your host, Bob Bowman, and I'm here in a trailer with Devin C. Williams.
Yes.
In Custer,
Michigan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Devin, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. You and I have crossed paths. You were playing, I was in the audience, so let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
I have seen you perform in multiple locations now, and you've been on my list to pick your brain for the podcast for at least the last year and a half. So thank you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
A couple things to state just up front. I mean, you hail from Girard, Illinois, but actually, to be more specific, you're from Findlay, Ohio.
Yes.
You don't. So that would be where you hail from.
Yeah.
You're currently living in Girard, Illinois, and you were telling me that your first instrument was a drum set.
Yes. Yes.
How old were you when you?
I believe I was 8 or 9 when I got my first drum set. It was a green CB 5-piece kit.
Wow.
And then the neighbors next to me. I moved from Findlay to Carbondale, Illinois.
Yeah.
And then up to a little town called Auburn, which is a neighboring town to Girard.
Right.
So I just keep going a little bit further south. But anyhow, the neighbors had a newborn baby, and I could not drum. So I had that drum set for about 6 months, and then I traded it for a really cheap acoustic guitar and a Silvertone bass. And I didn't have much interest in it at all. And at that time, I was more interested in skateboarding. And then I picked up music again later on, early 2000s. But yeah, drums and rock and roll, heavy metal music, double bass, blast beats, thrashing, that kind of stuff. That was my life for a long time.
I caught a insight from a couple comments you made during your set. You just finished playing here at the US 10 Cigar Box Guitar Festival here in Custer, Michigan. But we'll circle back to the music in a little bit. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself in general?
Okay. Oh man, there's so much. Well, yeah. To begin, I was born in Findlay, Ohio. I'm the middle child. Got 5 siblings, and I ventured off into the world of blues around the age of when I would say 19 or 20. Back then I was still doing a lot of heavy metal stuff, but everybody seemed to be gravitating towards folk music and acoustic stuff, and I just wasn't feeling the strumming campfire kind of deal, and I was looking for different kinds of ways to express myself that way, because it's hard to find 5 guys that all like the same kind of music and then put it together. And now all these people are going off, doing solo stuff, so I was kind of confronted with this crisis of I'm a drummer, but I play multiple instruments. I play a lot of different things. However, I'm like, I got to play music. So the guitar was the most accessible instrument to where I'm like, okay, now I got to sing, so that's kind of that's what propelled me to what I'm doing today. But my music is, when you say to ask me about myself, there's so much, man, I don't know where to begin. But
that's the beauty of this format, though. We can go anywhere you want to take it.
Well, yes, my music, if you've seen some of my shows, then you know that a lot of my music is uplifting material, gospel music. I love to sing about the Lord. I love to sing about trains, mountains, all that good stuff. And I like singing the old traditional blues stuff as well. But firm believer in the Lord. That's first in my life, and then music, and then food. And in that order. But I'm a pretty laid back dude that just likes to pick and grin. I like to travel. I like meeting new folks, and I really enjoy being able to have this platform now where I'm able to share a part of myself, everywhere I go, because when you get on stage, it's like you're completely vulnerable and out there in the open, And when you're there with a band, you know, you got your buddies to fall on. And when you're by yourself, it's like, you know, you're naked, you know. And so, but I actually, you know, over a course of time, I've developed an attraction to like purposely putting myself in uncomfortable situations musically. So I like to improvise a lot, almost like a jazz player would, but I got the mind of a blues player, you know. So I'm just, a lot of times sometimes songs in my shows will be made up right there on the spot, off
Really?
the cuff. Yeah, I don't tell nobody that, but you know, there's a lot of, like, for example, some of my influences, Kelly Joe Phelps. He's a guy that would just be like, what key are we doing this song in, and would run with it. He may have wrote a song in the key of G, and his guitar may have been in, you know, some other tuning, and he'll just play that same song in a different tuning. And when I first witnessed that, I'm like, I want to try that, you know, see if I can just make up music literally on the fly, you know. Now doing that is one thing. Now doing that in front of an audience in a live situation, because you don't know what you're going to do.
Right.
You know, you got a general idea, and then so it really is this. For me, it's all spiritual. But however, you got to connect with the audience, and the audience engages with you, and then you kind of see where it goes from there.
Yeah.
You know, whether you want to play something sweet or tender, or whether you want to come out the gate swinging with like Sun House or something. You know.
Yeah.
But
Sun House
yes.
is one of the reasons I've named my podcast the Suitcase Sessions,
Okay. Yeah.
because in Preachin' Blues he says picked up his suitcase and took off down the road
Yeah.
and wrapped up my suitcase.
Yeah.
And I thought, when I heard that line,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, Suitcase Sessions. I
Yeah.
stylized some Crossroads, put my my suitcase, and my first cigar box guitar was a paint can lid resonator made by someone else for me, and Roberto Vasquez. out in
That's really
California.
cool. I like that you got the idea from a Sun House lyric.
I love the blues, and I think we talked about it, and we'll get it maybe later.
Sure.
But I love the Mississippi Hill Country Blues.
Oh, yeah.
Robert Johnson was clearly the catalyst for the Crossroads piece.
Yeah, you know, and you know, there's a lot to be said about Robert Johnson. As for me, I got into the Delta blues is when I found resonator guitars, resophonic guitars,
Right.
and you know, Robert Johnson is the guy that we all know.
Yeah.
You know, and there's so many great Delta blues players and Piedmont from all over the place that never got the opportunity to record. So just think about that for a minute, man. How many other guys like Reverend Gary Davis were out there that just never got a chance to record? And according to these big blues legends, from what I have found, they all claim, like, they're like, man, you ain't heard nothing. There was a lot
Because
of
their influences just never got
exactly,
heard.
and you know,
They're at the juke joints, and that was it.
well, like for example, Charlie Patton is, you know, I credit him as many the world does as the father of Delta blues. He was one of the first recorded American artists in American history, let alone. But also, he was playing this different kind of music. But when you listen to Charlie Patton, it's this very down-home, one-chord, improvised. I think he recorded over 30 songs in one day for his own, like, audition, which is insane to think about. Someone go, that's like recording 3 albums in a day. And he's like, yeah, just give me whiskey and I'll sit here and play all day, you know?
Yeah.
But to them, they were just playing music. He just woke up in the morning and played music. And later on, they started calling this blues and stuff. But Robert Johnson wanted to be like Charlie Patton, and he wanted to be like Sun House. Sun House didn't care for Charlie Patton. He thought he was too much of a show. You know, he was a clown, is what Sun House called him. You know, but truth be told, Charlie Patton could play, man. He could play big time. And you know, yeah. So for me, the influence is definitely the Delta blues stuff, and it goes back to Charlie Patton, but my gateway into it was Son House. So I got into Son House, and then I discovered Book of White, you know, and he's B.B. King's cousin, you know, but he's like the epitome of this, like, the stereotypical bluesman. He did some time in prison, killed a man,
Right.
you know. He wrote, I believe he even recorded some of his songs in prison, and then got out, and he had a couple of songs. We're like, well, what else do you got? And he's like, well, that's it. That's all I got right now. And then they told him, he's like, well, you need to bring some more sides back for us, you know. And then I guess he went home for like a week or two, came back, and now like the whole body of work of Book of White that we have is from that short little time.
His own life experiences, though.
Yeah, and he's like, well, he had enough to sing about,
Yeah.
you know. And then he's like, here's Aberdeen, you know, blues and stuff, and Parchment Farm, and, you know, these fantastic songs. And then as I'm, you know, thank God for things like YouTube, and I know I'll be careful what I'm saying, but some of these streaming online services, some musicians feel like they're serving us, and they are, and in some ways it's disservicing us. But I have discovered so many great blues musicians because of, you know, the internet today, and you just get on YouTube, and then I'm finding sides, you know, that are obscure that Son House did, where he's playing Death Letter Blues, and sometimes it would be called My Black Mama, you know, blues, and there'd be a part 1 and 2, and that same line, like, I packed up my suitcase and took off down the road, you know, he said that multiple times in all these different songs.
Yeah.
And then I was trying to dedicate myself to, like, play just like Son House and sing just like Son House, because I was like, I felt like he and I had some things in common, you know. And he was this person who really had a strong faith in God, but also wrestled with alcohol, and I had a past with that too. So at the time, I was kind of relating myself to these bluesmen who were struggling between the pulpit and barrel housing.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And, well, also it was their job, you know?
Yeah.
And they didn't want to be out there sharecropping and, you know, picking cotton and all this other stuff.
Right.
You know, if you could play a guitar, you know, that was your meal ticket, and that was, you know, that gave you hope if you had a gift, you know? But anyway, that can go on and on, but for me it all starts with Charlie Patton, and when you look at someone like Charlie Patton, that's another reason why I like him, is my father was black and my mom is Sicilian, and Charlie Patton, he looks like, you know, in a lot of the pictures we see, there's only a couple, he looks like a white man with wavy hair, but I believe his mother was black, I believe, or his father was black and his mom was mixed with some Native American Cherokee.
Right.
And but everyone was thrown down in the Delta at that time. A lot of people don't know this history, is that you had, you know, Hispanic people, you had what they called mulatto people,
Right.
that were all thrown down there. But he was treated just like any other. He was accepted as a black man, even though he was fair-skinned. They said he was red, and wavy hair was attractive back in that day.
Right.
And but he was picked on a lot for being mixed and all this. And I'm like, well, I can identify with that, you know. And also, he's this short man who had this really deep or just powerful voice, you know. And before I even started singing, there was some kind of, I'm like, I was mesmerized. There was some kind of mystery about it. And ultimately, it came to this. I'm like, that's one man stomping his foot, singing against the world, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was just, after that, I got bit by the blues bug.
Right.
You know.
And I think we're all glad you did.
Yeah.
And you talked about, you know, not just the Delta blues, but and certainly I think if we talk to any one of those that you listed right, as your influences, you also said that you know, you like gospel music.
Mm-hmm.
Gospel is a huge influence for each of them. And
oh yeah, Charlie Patton sang a lot of gospel music. Son House sang gospel music. Yeah. They all, almost all of them. Skip James was a big time. All of his music was gospel.
Yeah.
I think Hard Time Killing Floor was, you know, what you would call just there was a lot of humanity in that, you know, of what was going on. You know, these hard times will drive you from door to door, you know.
Right.
And if they don't find no heaven, I don't care where they go. these kinds of lines like that. He was talking about his own experience, but clearly you can hear that the man has a mind that's towards God and towards what's after this life.
Well, and the reading that they did do was mostly from the scriptures.
Yes.
So a lot of their thought process, sitting around pondering time, was either how do I get closer to the Lord? How do I get right with the Lord? How do I get out of this environment I'm in? Who do I look to as my source of salvation?
Yeah.
And I think all of those things, to amplify your point, really did influence who they were. And like us, they got into trouble, right? None of us are perfect.
No.
Right? We'll never be perfect. There's one guy that did that.
Yep, only one.
And a one-on-one, but they made the most of it and tried their best to let their music define who they were.
I suppose so. And I guess, that would be an easier way of saying it, is that this is a cultural thing. So I felt like I had somewhat of a right poking my nose into it and seeing, and I was very close with my grandmother, Arlethea, my dad's mom, and she was a preacher.
Oh.
And so growing up with having a preacher for a grandma, and she was a very gifted woman, before I get on a long-winded thing on her, but she is a very, very godly woman.
Yeah.
And she very, very much inspired me. Even though, of course, it's my grandma, I wanted whatever it was that she had. I knew that she had a real relationship with something that I couldn't understand. And I remember that when I was only like 3 or 4. Like, it's crazy that I have those memories. And because there was a den, and I was often, because of growing up, I even had some racial problems in my family where, because my mom's Sicilian, Grandpa didn't like that much, my mom being with a black man. And so I was in Findlay, Ohio, at my preaching grandma's house a lot. So I was on the black side of the family, and my brother was on the Valenti side. So I truly do believe this, is that because I was exposed to that, and she was from North Carolina, picked some 300 pounds of cotton a day, born 1929, February 5th.
Wow.
I was very close with her, and we talked about this stuff. And even my Sicilian grandpa, he came over on the boats and landed down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and then later on moved to Gary, Indiana. So we had family that was down south on both sides.
Yeah.
And my great-grandfather on my Sicilian side of the family, his name was Giuseppe Antonio Valenti. Just sounds like a famous dude.
Yeah.
Anyway, I never met him, but he played accordion. He played the button accordion, the concertina. And from what everyone in the family says on my mom's side, is that he was like this prodigy musician. And he played polka music, and he played country western and swing. And actually, I just inherited his accordions recently.
Oh, wow. You're going to try to learn to play them?
I think I might,
Nice.
I believe whatever I put my hand to, I can prosper at, if I believe it, Anyway, but I think that's kind of why I get it all the time. People think I'm from, like, down south, or that I'm actually from, like, Mississippi or Alabama or something like that. And I believe that my roots are very much there. And
roots are there.
I think that's why I understand it so much, and I spent so much time around real live people who lived back there in that time. And it was very interesting for me to hear from my grandmother support. She didn't like praise secular music, but some people will be out there like, you can't listen to that, and, everything in its own right. If you want to be a big dog, sometimes you gotta wear a muzzle. No one to shut up too, but that music is something that's spiritual, and my grandma's words still just like are ringing in me when she's like, Devin, when you listen, she's like, her voice, she's like, Devin, when you listen to that Muddy Waters, she's like, that's a man telling the truth about his experience. She goes, what is wrong with that? And but the blues, she understood it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about a woman who picked 300 pounds of cotton a day, and she was out there singing these spirituals, and I remember hearing that music around her, and I remember listening to her hum in her chair, in Ohio, on Park Street in Findlay, Ohio. So I truly do believe that being exposed to her and her spirit is something that caused me to gravitate towards this amazing, liberating, and very spiritual music. Because with the blues, like with blues, you can sing gospel and you can sing barrel house music, and you really can't do that with any other genre. I mean, I'm sure you can get away with a few things, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think the fact that you picked up on the life experience, probably from both sides, because I would argue, and I know we're talking about your grandmother and her experiences, and your grandma sounds like an amazing person that would love to sit around and hear her stories all day long, especially as a preacher. My great-grandparents were an arranged marriage from Italy. He was from Civitavecchia, she from Palermo. Her name were Nardi, and their daughter married my grandfather.
Okay.
So I can appreciate what you're saying.
Yeah.
We like to call that the passionate side, though.
Yeah, sure. Yes.
And I married a German, by the way. And
oh my gosh.
Let me just say, we point out that we're like two rams on a mountainside.
Yeah.
And then we wonder, why was we fighting again?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, well, thank you for allowing me to share that, and I'm trying to stay on course here, because this stuff gets me so.
Oh no, this is great though. This gives us insight to what drives you, motivates you, and it's, in my opinion, it clearly comes out when you're behind the microphone and on the stage.
I hope so.
And I love that. You saw people dancing, and you I think so far today, of all the musicians who played, your applause was loudest.
Yeah, well, thank you.
And there's already been somebody after you.
Yes.
And it went away.
Yes,
So,
yes.
I think that it speaks volumes. That,
and sometimes in these situations when you're playing early in the day, you gotta. I never view it as like I have to set the bar or something like that.
Right.
I just want to go out there and ultimately give as much of myself in the music as I can. At least at one point during the show, I try to get to that place, and my musician friends out there can comprehend what I'm saying here. Is like this point where you transcend, and you're not thinking about what you're eating after the gig, and you're not thinking about the weird guy dancing in the audience or whatever. You're literally another place,
right.
and you're in the song,
right.
And so that's why for me, like, I'll write a song, and because of an experience that I had, and it's a very powerful thing, and sometimes my own songs can move me to tears, because I'm crying or upset about whatever that's going on.
Remember what was happening back.
And then if I try to sing that song 6 months later, I feel like I'm being disingenuous to my own self, because I'm not singing it from the same spirit that I wrote the song in.
Right.
So I try to stay away from writing breakup material and all that kind of stuff, which is so common in themes and blues. And I'm just thankful that I don't get any trouble from anybody with the subject matter of my songs, because I play in bars and festivals where there's all kinds of things that are contrary to my kind of way of thinking now.
And while I would agree with that, my younger brother, I'm the oldest of four, died of alcoholism and drug use. Right?
Yeah.
So, but I can tell you that the people that are in the bar, of all the people, sometimes might need to hear your message the most, right?
Well, yeah.
They're there, oftentimes, trying to figure out what to do next. Drowning their sorrows, maybe.
Yeah.
But they're open. And they're looking. So I appreciate that, and I really like that you focus on that. And I think we need that, especially in this this community.
Sure.
And in my personal opinion, if for no other reason, then it goes right back to the roots that you walked us through already.
Yeah, and I think honestly, to tell you the truth, it's not even about I could be of another mindset or religion or whatever.
Yeah.
I think what it comes down to is being true to myself, in the sense of these are my convictions and I believe them, and so much so that I can't function. I'm under a state of duress if I'm not walking in step with what I know and what's been instilled in me since I was a little boy. So, you know, I was just miserable living contrary to that in any way, doing any kind of thing that was, you know, well, obviously against my own moral values. And so when I go up there and sing these songs, it's not like I never want to cram this down someone's throat. It's more like I'm presenting something, but I'm just also letting you know who I am. And that way, and I think that's why there's this like this really cool mutual respect.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had a lot of people come up to me after shows. You'll be amazed at the conversations I have after shows about man, people crying, people talking about how they want to come back to, you know, their faith that they once had, or they were inspired. And then I have this one a lot, people that don't believe or that don't even like the blues, but they like my music and they bump it all the time.
They don't
and
know
I'm
why
like,
they were connecting, but they were connecting.
and I'm just like, I know one atheist friend who is pretty outspoken about his ideologies and all that, and that doesn't bother me none. But he's a big fan of Devin's music, and I'm like, dude, and it kind of just shocked me as you know, I kind of walked away. I'm like, that's surprising that he digs, you know, one of his favorite songs has got Jesus in the title, you know, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool, you know. But I never been, you know, alarmed by that kind of thing. If I heard like it, one thing that's really interesting is that a lot of people will say that they like church music.
Yes.
You know, like there's something comforting
Right.
about it.
Sure.
You know, so I don't know. You can go on and on about it, but I think that anytime someone's being true to themselves, the audience is going to, the listener is going to have a way better experience.
No matter, no matter what the topic actually.
Yeah, because you're not being lied to. They're not up there being, you know, pandering to you. You know, because, you know, I'm like the opposite. If you tell me to do something, to play a certain song, I'll be like turned off from wanting to play that one. Like if it was your idea, I'd shy away from it.
Sure.
You know. So I feel like some musicians out there that I work with today and stuff, and everyone's different. There's no really right or wrong way, but some of them have a very, like, they have archetypes. You know, they have people that they aspire to be like, and that's just one way that it works. You know.
Yeah.
And so some people do that really well, and I've got friends that do cover bands and stuff like that, and they do it so well. And it's not my thing, you know what I mean? But I feel like, oh, you've been spending all your time trying to be like this other person, and you can never be that person, you know? But that's just my perspective.
So I've heard it said, at least, you know, more than I could count, a true leader has the courage of their convictions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that leadership, the result of that leadership, the result of the courage of your convictions, makes you a leader, whether you were trying to be or not. People want to follow that.
Yeah.
And those are the people that had the courage of their convictions to follow through with those things that they're interested in. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. Music is what we're here about, but literally in business, those are the people who make it, that are successful.
Yeah.
And are the leaders in their fields because they had the courage of their convictions. I
love that too. I like that because I do often feel like I was telling my girlfriend Janelle, you know, I sometimes wake up and I forget that, you know, I'm a one-man band, blues band, you know, and all this, and it's just, I don't know, these weird surreal moments where, you know, I'm walking on stage and I'm like, yeah, this is who you are, because I've spent so many years of sitting around and just steeping myself in this amazing music and discovering more and wanting to learn more, and the excitement of when you first learn how to do a cool lick, you know, and you want to keep going, you know, and then now turning back, it's like I have to view that through a telescope to see where it all began, and I'm like, it's just like, bam, here we are. But I think that you know, I didn't really choose for it to happen like this. I didn't say I'm going to go out and start preaching through my music and all this. This is something that I was going to do whether the world liked it or not, whether they heard it or not. it was something that I felt that was like a mandate on my life, that I believe this gift comes from God, so therefore I need to give it back to him in some. There's nothing I could. Everything is his anyway. It's like, if he's hungry, he ain't gonna ask me. He'll go get it himself.
I've stood at
You know what I mean?
I've stood at the pulpit many times.
Yeah.
In my own religion and my faith, but I've said this always, and I told you I've been married for 43 years, but I say this when I have an opportunity. I love my wife. We've been best friends since we've been 15.
That's amazing.
And then we got married early, and now we've been married 43 years, so it's a long time.
Yeah.
And I say, there's nobody I'd love more than my wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I love God more.
Yeah.
I love my sons. I have 3.
Mm-hmm.
But I love God more.
Mm-hmm.
I love my ability to run or whatever else I do.
Yeah.
But I love God more. And I say those 3 things, just to make the point, because without God, I would have none of those things.
Sure. Yeah.
That gift you just pointed out,
Mm-hmm.
and your conviction says that that's a God-given
Yeah.
gift and talent, or drive, or however you'd like to couch that.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot to that. And once we figure out that whatever our passion is, that
Mhm.
we become successful at it for that
Yeah.
reason, I think there's nuance
There-
maybe, but it's a difference.
Sure. I think I do believe that whatever one might be passionate about, whatever lights them on fire, is usually an indicator of whatever their purpose or calling is.
Correct. Yeah.
You know,
100%.
and I'm wild crazy about music, and but at the same time, here's what's crazy. Like, I love that you say that, is, and it almost sounds nuts coming out of my mouth, but there's days where I'm like not wild about music, or playing music. Sometimes I'm just like, what is this? And it's, I don't know, it's different, because this is my job as well, and I really do enjoy it. But there's days when I'm on stage and I'm like, I'm going to be up here for the next 3 or 4 hours entertaining a crowd, and sometimes you don't have the best crowd, or and I'm not talking about because the lack thereof, I'm talking about the quality of who you're entertaining, so there's ups and downs. But because I know that there's a purpose behind what I'm doing, I don't ever feel anymore. I have so much more peace, because it doesn't matter. I'm like, whoever is there, I just have the faith that they're meant to be there.
And and not to focus too much on it, but the reality is, maybe that's the wrong way to say it. I suspect you feel a similar thought, that if you weren't doing that, and the message in your songs
Mm-hmm.
doesn't get heard, someone's going to be missing out, because somewhere in that set,
Mm-hmm.
I watched you get hugged by somebody
Yeah.
today,
Mm-hmm.
and they were moved by what you did, right?
Yeah.
I suspect, even if those people in that audience, wherever it is, they don't come up to hug you, something you said struck a chord because of where you draw your inspirations from,
Sure.
and how you look at those
Oh yeah.
songs for sure, but what drove you to make those songs?
Yeah, and that's just one of those mysteries, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, it really does. It's to try to simplify this thing that has so many moving parts in it, if you will. It's about self-expression,
Yeah.
and it's about being authentic. And see, that's why I think that's why we love the blues so much, is because it is this very human music, and it's about real, raw, ugly stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
And it doesn't even matter if the guy or woman is singing great. It's about the expression. That's why
That's why I love Motown so much.
Exactly, right?
Because they're giving it everything. You could feel it coming from their toes.
Exactly, and I think that's what some music is missing today, is first a human hand in the music, and also the feeling, and when I listen to some of these old records and stuff, I hear pitchy parts and what one might call a mistake, but over a course of time, like, these become, and like I guess you could say, they become a part of the song that now, like, if it were to be changed anyway, like,
Right.
it wouldn't be right. You know, it'd be missing that thing. So I think also the listener also likes to hear someone like, you know, Eddie Van Halen make a mistake, because, like, oh, he's human, he's like me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you kind of feel like you can relate with this person on a you know, on a real level,
Right.
and it almost seems tangible to them, because it's like,
The scripture comes to mind is, know ye not that they who run a race run all, so run that ye may obtain.
yeah,
And I think about that all the time because, okay,
for a crowd that fadeth not away.
no matter what we're doing, if we're not going to give it our all, you know, how are we going to win the prize?
Yeah, that
and the
makes-
prize might not be monetary. The prize doesn't have to be something we're looking at it as, right? But we were put here for a purpose. You know, listen to you sing. I think you were put here for a purpose, even though sometimes, as you point out, you might not always feel like, oh man, this is not the greatest crowd for me, or maybe I'm dealing with something personally that I brought into this set because I was, you know, in a heated discussion, 30 minutes prior to, and now I got to somehow be on. But the bottom line is, you know, you're trying to deliver your best, and I think of the lyric, you know, it should have been me. Remember that tune? It should have been me. It's a Motown classic, right? And she's talking about a wedding, and you know, the preacher said, if any of you have objection, speak now, forever hold your peace. And from the back she jumped up and said, it should have been me. But she's delivering that line, and you believe she thought that should have been her. And that's what I like, right? Run that you may obtain. If you're going to do it, be all in.
Not like one that beats the air.
Oh my goodness. Somebody was saying to me as I was standing next to him listening to your set that, holy cow, it puts everything into that. You could feel what you were singing.
I'm surprised because because I'm like, last night I just played in Peoria Heights, you know, and got out of there about midnight and drove from Peoria Heights, Illinois, up to Custer, and that was about a 6.5 or so hour journey. So I drove all night, got to Dean's house here about 7:30 or so. It was about 7:45. We got there and took a little nap, got up,
and here you are.
I wasn't even awake.
So you weren't lying when you said it's noon, and you know, how did I get up so?
And I said I woke up at the crack of noon.
At the crack of noon. Well, I was talking to Janelle, to switch subjects just a little bit, briefly. But I was talking to her, and I told her, man, I would love to sit down with all the spouses and significant others of all the musicians. Because, you know, she travels with you. I know she's in marketing and you know, is supportive. My wife's like a crew chief for running, right? So she's there up all night getting back to your drive. You know, you're the one that's going to play the gig, but you got to get there. And nobody thinks of all the other things, right? You got laundry to do, you got food to eat, you got showers to take, you got some. You need to talk about some things. You might have a day job.
You know, and I've done that and maintained that. Now I'm at a place where I'm doing this full time, you know.
Right.
And yes, the people that are behind, you might see one guy on stage, but typically there's a whole crew of people, support team. And Janelle's great, and she's not obligated to really do anything other than that. But however, it's very nice to have someone there that's a fellow laborer in something that you're passionate about. And she, of course, she's a believer, as I, you know, she's devout as well. So she knows that what I'm doing there's something a lot greater to it than both her and I. So but other than that, you know, back to the blues. The blues guys always had what they called a rider, somebody who went on the road with them.
I love that you put that in the text yesterday. You're
Mm-hmm.
coming up, you're going to be late, but you'll have a rider with you. I love that line. I saw it.
And that's how I talk now. That's just how I talk now.
I like it.
But I'll have a rider with me.
Well, Dean, I think I could... Dean.
It's all right.
You just mentioned Dean
and
going to Dean's house. But Devin, I could probably spend, another hour picking your brain about things. And I think what I'd like to do is probably close it out here
Yeah,
for
sure.
now, for a couple of reasons, but not the least of which is you're probably ready to enjoy some music yourself.
I almost forgot where we're at. We're sitting in here in a trailer.
Yeah.
Nice hot
Yeah.
trailer.
A hot
That's
black
okay
trailer.
though. I mean, this is festival season. You got to get used to the heat.
Yeah.
So.
But for the people who are either going to view this or listen to it on whatever their platform is, what would you want to close with that would speak to either who you are, what you would like them to know, what's your upcoming projects, where are you going to be next?
Yeah, well, we can start with that. Yeah. Starting to my next. Well, I'm always playing shows. Tomorrow I'm going to be in Springfield, Illinois, on the lake, playing 4 to 7.
Nice.
So I'm just on the run. I've been playing since Thursday this week, every night.
Wow.
But the next big things that are coming up is I just submitted my application to the International Blues Challenge in St. Louis.
Nice.
That's a big deal.
So you're at the National Blues Museum?
I'm going to, yes, I had my debut there at the National Blues Museum. I played, what day was that? A couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll be there again August 22nd, 7 to 9 in St. Louis at the National Blues Museum. So I believe they're going to start rotating me there like every other month.
Very cool.
I'm going to be playing there and some other rooms in St. Louis. So keep look out for me there if you're following me.
We'll have to come check you out down there.
Yeah, and then I'm doing some recordings. I got lots of new material in the works. I was just talking with a good friend. We were talking about doing some analog style recordings.
Great.
So there's a lot of stuff going on in my life all the time, but the biggest thing is I'm going to be going to Belgium with, I'm sure you know John Merry-Go-Round.
Yeah.
I'm going to be...
He was just down at the St. Louis Blues, St. Louis Cigar Box Guitar Festival.
Yes.
Playing some blues music.
He and I, looking back, and I didn't realize how many shows we played together. We played a lot. We played in several states, Florida, Georgia, Missouri, and all over Illinois together.
Wow.
And then finally it led to being invited over there. And it was kind of like, and just talking after gigs and stuff. He's like, well, come to Belgium. And I'm like, how serious are you? And then finally it was like, hey, if you get your passport and stuff, he's like, we'll book a run,
Yeah.
So I'm going to be there August 27th through September 7th.
Nice.
And then landing back here in America on the 8th of September. And this is, I'm very excited about, is Doug McLeod. I'm going to be playing with Doug McLeod, blues legend, very prominent man, especially in the country blues.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he just received a couple of awards for Best Acoustic
Nice.
album last year. He just released another album. Anyway, I'm going to be playing with Doug McLeod at the, I believe at the National Blues Museum, September 13th. So, yeah, some big stuff. International Blues Challenge, Belgium, Doug McLeod. I just did Pickin' on Picnic with Del McCurry and Split Lip Rayfield and a fantastic blues player named Christina Van. Check her out. Yeah, and she plays national guitars
Yeah.
and slide. And
Wow.
so I was nerding out. I got off stage, and she comes up and shakes my hand, and she's like, good set. And she's like, and I'm like, hold on. I'm like, I watch you on YouTube, and I've been watching her for a couple of years. So it's so weird meeting people off the internet.
Right,
it's like
right.
it's kind of like meeting what was celebrity, but I
Right.
don't know. It's a different thing now. Like
Yeah,
it's YouTube people. But anyway. So it's been one heck of a summer so far already. I'm extremely happy. My cup is full and it seems to be running over. And there's a festival going on I got to get back to. But if there's one thing I could leave everyone with is just be kind to one another. It's real simple. And and if you can catch a cigar box festival or anything like that, get involved. There's a lot of really amazing people that I meet at these events, people that build them, people that play them, and people that do both. So make your way out next year, or I don't know when this will air.
We'll do some
some
audio cleanup, but then we'll get it out as soon as possible.
Sure. Well, thank you very much. I'm Devin C. Williams. God bless y'all, and I hope to see you guys again soon.
Devin, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for spending the time with me.
Yes.
And for those of you listening or watching on a YouTube channel, remember, there are no rules. Just keep playing. And
Right
we'll catch
on.
up later somewhere down the road.
See you guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Yeah, that was good. That was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah.